Okay, let's do this.
Give it a try.
On Thursday, June 14th, 2012, Ian Thompson and Victorian Claus were sailing back from the Caribbean to Australia when their boat struck rocks. In the midst of the panic, they were able to call out on a satellite phone at 10:30 p.m. to alert relatives. Even an emergency locator beacon was activated. But the seas were high, making rescue impossible for at least 2 days. Since their boat was close to a number of islands, hope was held out that they made landfall and could be found alive as soon as the weather broke. An extensive air, sea, and land-based search coordinated by the Rescue Coordination Centre, New Zealand, covering more than 191 square nautical miles, failed to locate the men. 6 days later, a small wisp of smoke was seen rising from a deserted island, giving hope to the searchers.
Stories of wrecked sailboats and lost sailors are as old as seafaring itself. Last year, this year, and next year, sailors have been and will get lost, stranded, wrecked on reefs, thrashed around in cyclones. Sadly, the story of Ian Thompson and Victorian Claus ended in tragedy. They were never found. Instead, once the storm had subsided, the wreck of their sailboat was found in 100 pieces, floating on the Pacific Ocean currents. One of the components of survival is luck. If you make it to land, what that land might be like is entirely dependent on luck. For this adventure, I'm joined by my old friend, Bob Wilson. But this is not about adventure. This is to show what could have been possible if Ian and Victorian had made it to safe shores. This is about survival.
So Bob and I have jumped ship, and we're expected to make landfall wherever we can on this stretch of shoreline on one of the main islands of Tonga.
Well, the crew is going to leave us here now. You can see them off in the distance there. Where you're actually on the mainland, but you can't climb or walk to civilization. That's one of the ironies of a lot of survival situations. It's very much a so close but yet so far scenario. You've been essentially coming along the coast, and this is the deal. You don't really have a lot of options for where you're going to land sometimes. I mean, this whole shoreline, and this is the mainland, is a lot of cliff action, tiny little beaches. Eventually, of course, there are settlements and towns and things like that. Depending on where you end up getting stranded, or where you end up cracking up your boat, or whatever happens, that's when luck comes down to it as to what is close by. So tonight, we're going to pull in somewhere in this cove here, check it out, see how we fare for the night. We do have a beach behind us we could get to if we need to, but this just looks decently protected. I'm gonna ground out right here. Keep it going.
Deciding where to land can be a crapshoot. A beach can seem obvious, but it can also wash out as high tide comes in, leaving you stranded against the rocks or the high jungle.
Wow, this is awesome. Dry land, lots of protection. This is the kind of safe cove you look for. Now, whether we can get up into the land, that's another story. I don't really know if we can or not. We got caves. A couple of options, actually. Let's get the raft, get everything safe up here and dry.
Right.
And then we'll explore and we'll figure out where we want to spend the night.
Caves, too, can be a death trap if the tide comes in high. But these ones look to be dry enough. In fact, they almost look too good to be true.
Couple things. Bob and I were talking about caves, and as much as they can be exciting, and you know you've got instant shelter, a lot of times they can be extremely damp, dank, bats, and usually the ground is like this. There's the other cave. Smaller, more exposed, but still plenty protected in a lot of ways. Which cave do you prefer? Better bottom on this one. So, let's stay here.
Bob's right. This is the only flat ground to take advantage of, so the decision is made easy. A major component of survival, luck, is with us today. With two men surviving together, the workload can be shared, making most everything twice as fast and twice as effective. But the lingering issue when there are multiple survivors is always the same. There are two mouths to feed, not just one. As it turns out, we're not actually that far from civilization. If we could climb these cliffs, we could potentially walk out to a village somewhere on the mainland. It's always a frustrating thing for any lost victim to be unable to get to home safely when they know they're close.
There's a trail right down here. I mean, this is a cleared, cut trail. Wow. Actually, the trail goes up and over. Oh my goodness. Wow. So we've got another little cove around here with a beach. Oh, no, the water's gonna lock me out right now. Okay, so high tide. This is a no-go. We're fine where we are. We're settled in a cave. We're on the mainland. I'm guessing this trail will hike us right out. We're not going to hike out. That's not why we're here. See, if we just stayed put right in the cave and didn't look around, didn't look up and say, hey, maybe there's a trail up here. If you don't do that, if you don't do reconnaissance missions, even little mini ones, you don't know what's around you. So now I know there's a beach literally 75, 60, 80 yards away. And there's better firewood here that we can use, I'm guessing. Yeah. Grab some firewood for Bob. Just getting the pit together. Oh yeah. And then this trail that just goes up and over. So up right to where we are in the cave. So obviously people come here. And that's the thing. You get stranded somewhere and you're on the mainland, you find a trail, that probably means salvation. See that? I'll bet you that goes up and out. We'll find out tomorrow. In the meantime, sun setting's very soon, so there's no point in trying to do the hike now. We don't really know where it goes. Get halfway up there, find out that it stopped somewhere and never got completed, or can't make it out before dark. So we'll stay the course here.
So luck is indeed with us. An established trail behind the cave seems to lead up and out to civilization, and our own shipwreck scenario could end now if we wanted it to. But we'll get to work instead and utilize the advantage of being a team of two that can work together to procure survival for the night.
Got something?
Yeah, I had one lighter with fuel and one lighter with spark.
Our first issue is fire. We have lighters, but they become soaked by immersion in the ocean.
Careful, don't pull away quick. Gentle. I need husk. Lots of husk. Why I got these big chunks on here? That's not gonna do us any good at all right now. It's gotta be all small, light stuff.
Even with Bob's inventive technique of using one lighter to spark the other one's fuel, he still missed one important beat, kindling preparation. So I'm kind of jumping on his case to make sure we have the fire we need to keep the damp ocean night chill away for the next 10 hours.
There's nothing there that's really gonna catch. Small twigs, nothing too big, nothing too big. We got something happening here. Okay, so let's speed on this guy. Bob's got it now. He's just going to keep feeding twigs and branches onto it. Bob's really good at getting the fire going. At his cottage out here, when it's so delicate like that, it's a different story. You've got to start off so tiny all the time, small, 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 and work your way up until you really have a base. But the brilliant thing Bob did was, which I never even considered, was we had one lighter that had fuel that would come out and the other one that still had a spark but no fuel. So you use the spark from one lighter to light the fuel in the other lighter. And as far as I'm concerned, that was brilliant.
I kind of assumed that husk was going to grow like crazy.
No, the husk won't flame. It'll only hold the ember. That's why it's a great way to carry fire. You got to have something else to catch the flame. You got her now, buddy.
Even though it's the tropics, fire is still a vital necessity. The nights will be cool and damp. In survival, when luck is on your side, you don't want to become complacent, for it can change in a moment, and your ordeal goes from surviving to trying to survive. And there's a big difference. Together, Bob and I jumped in the ocean, and together, we'll experience the difference between surviving on one's own and having a partner to work with. The beauty of not being alone is simply the conversation and camaraderie. Loneliness, one of the toughest psychological aspects of survival to deal with, is not something I'll have to worry about on this venture. The will to live, having a survival kit, your personal skill set, your physical conditioning, these are the four main components of survival. But the fifth and least tangible component is luck. I'm not even sure what it means. I only know when you have it and when you don't. If the two lost sailors had made any kind of landfall at all, it could have been luck or a combination of acquired skills. If that landfall was habitable, that would have been lucky, but they would have at least each other, and that's a huge advantage in a survival ordeal.
Well, while Bob works on seeing if we can turn those oars into actual oars and not paddles, because it's really awkward, I have the unfortunate job of mending myself. I was feeding the fire, I was holding onto the rock with one hand, moving the sticks around with the other hand, and then I stepped on one of the branches of firewood. Now, it was like a V-shaped. Well, the top heavy end came down and just, bam, landed right on the end of my finger, my middle finger, nearly crushing the bone. And then you have to take a red-hot poker and come down through the top of the nail until it goes pop, and it shoots out like a water fountain and relieves the pressure. I'm hoping it doesn't get to that state, but it hurt, so. It never ceases to amaze me, the simple, coincidental, sort of energetic happenings when you know that moment where you think of a song you haven't heard in 25 years and in the next minute it comes on the radio? I swear, before this trip, I was getting prepared and I thought, well, I've got Bob with me. I should maybe, for legal reasons alone, I should take a first aid kit or something just to make sure, because I'm usually out here without anything. No first aid kit, no bandages, nothing, so I just deal with what I've got. This time I did. And in the last second, I looked at this little finger protector, and I thought, I've been carrying this as an outdoor adventure for over 30 years. And I thought, you know, I'll never have the need to use this. I'll throw it in anyway. I threw it in. Now I need it. So, that's not pleasant.
So it's a small bit of bad luck, but still significant. Losing the use of a hand or even a finger can change how and if you can do things.
Well, in spite of the sun coming down on me right here, it's actually raining out there, which shows you in the tropics how quick you can go from blue sky to a downpour. So we're just in under the edge of the cave. What we're going to do is we're going to head out of here. We're not going to stay in this cave for the rest of this time. We're going to head out to an island. Before we do that, I want to go over the survival gear that we have. I had to look at this whole scenario in two ways. One is what happens when two men like Ian Thompson and Victorian Claus have to ditch quick. In that situation, do you have a ditch bag that's ready to go? Bob and I did. We had our backpacks. And as a result, got boots in there. We've got our rain gear. We've each got our multi-tools and our knives. The other thing that I wanted to do, though, was I wanted to set up our more official ditch bag. And this I just picked up off the counter. It was empty, so I know what's in it. And that's a key point. A lot of times, 2 people will go out, 4 people will go out, and the only person who knows what's in the survival kit is the person who set it up. Bob should know everything that's in this kit. He should have been with me when I filled it. If there was any kind of extreme emergency in a scenario like this, Bob is left to scramble, wondering what's in here. Are there flares? Are there matches? Is there a signal mirror? Is there a radio? He wouldn't know. So in this case, we're gonna go through the kit, and this will be Bob's first shot at seeing it as well. Rope. This I just grabbed for fun. All right, survival blanket, mask and snorkel. This almost seems decadent. Taking a fishing net and a survival pack? The reality is, yeah, I find fish nets all around the ocean shores. With any luck at all, it'll fill our bellies. We've landed in a spot that looked like it was the one safe spot we could land. It turns out we could get out here. But we're here to survive. What we're going to do is we're going to get back in our raft, we're going to head out, and we're going to make our way over to an island and continue surviving.
We also have 1 jug of fresh water, and I threw in my own personal survival kit with first aid. This location was the ultimate in lucky. We could walk out. So I want to strand us where we can't. We're here to test out dual survival based on a shipwreck. So we need to strand ourselves on an island where we can't walk home.
Now, yeah, more right, straight. Now, go, go, go. Another big wave coming, lean towards me. Okay, made it out. Let's go find an island.
It does go to show you that of all the random places we could have landed last night, it wasn't that hard to find one that offered near instant salvation, a trail up and out. So I've radio signaled the crew to come back to give us a ride 50 miles away to a small group of islands. But even for this, we find ourselves floating about between the swells, with the crew unable to find us. Fortunately, they do, and they've dropped us off near a tiny group of islands.
The crew has repositioned us so that we can basically paddle for waves and make it back to one of these islands. No easy chore once we get out in the open ocean area here. We've got all of the wind and current coming at us. We got to make it over there. So we're going to be coming onto a lot of reef, but there's one little break in the reef we can hit. There we go. Yes, indeed. Well, the deal now is we're on an island, plain and simple. Tide is coming in, and it's coming in fast. How much of this beach we have after high tide, I don't know. But Bob and I are gonna have to get our stuff up under the high ground and then take a look around.
I want to see if our luck changes, or if it holds. There was no longer a trail out of here. The safety net is removed. We have no food and only a small bit of water left. So the beautiful impression of surf and sand betrays the immediate need of food, water, and shelter. A tropical paradise can also be nothing more than a sun-scorched prison.
Whoa, don't. Watch it. That's the most poisonous snake in the world. Whoa, don't. Watch it. I'm pretty sure that's a pelagic sea snake. That's the most poisonous snake in the world, according to many people. Wow. I'm glad you stopped me from stepping on that.
That was close, man.
We're gonna have to watch ourselves on this island.
Keep your eyes open.
There's a stinger. Well, tell me what you think we should do tonight. Like now. We've got about 5 hours of daylight.
Get a fire pit going, get all the fires put together, ready to light for sundown.
Sleep on the raft again tonight?
I look likely. Yeah.
It's not raining. That's good luck. It's not difficult to walk around in the jungle here. That's good luck. We have a soft, sandy beach all around the island, and that's good luck. So complacency can take over our perspective quickly. Yet I can't let it. We need to get to work, and even in such a tropical paradise, that still means shelter and warmth. I'm working on a new shelter using our raft as our bed, while Bob uses his two-lighter technique to get a new fire going. But in one moment of complacency, Bob changes our luck of having two lighters by accidentally leaving one of them within reach of the flames. The one lighter alone is now useless, which means turning to our survival kits and using up precious fire-starting supplies. We don't talk much tonight. We just get down to work. We have no cave to shelter us this night, but we do have a few of the survival items like an emergency blanket and plastic garbage bag. Whatever I do, whatever mistakes I make or advantages I find will affect Bob, and vice versa. This is the beauty and the problem with dual survival. We have to work together or we can bring each other down quickly and make survival much tougher than it needs to be.
Bob and I made it through the night pretty well, unscathed. We must have fallen asleep pretty well in the beginning of the night, and as a result, fire died on us. But that's not the scariest part of the night was that the tide came up so high. This entire island, all of the sand is obliterated by high tide. Well, last night, the water came all the way up to right there, just right in front of that camera right there. So basically about 6 feet from our raft is how high the water came up.
It's time to see what other supplies we have available.
My whole point with the survival kit is a part of what I like to do just to make sure I'm getting things right. So this is my kit, and it starts with this. The pouch itself becomes actually a bit of a catch bag, a container. Flint and striker, fire pellets, of course, rope. Garbage bag, great for signaling, and if we need to, we can cut it apart and make ourselves a better rain roof here. Pack of fishing gear. Flagging tape. And of course, last but not least, my favorite part of all of it, we've got a pot now. So that's my survival kit, and I want to see how this makes life better for us. Bob will be back soon with some coconuts, I hope, so I will start making a place where we can husk them.
Communication is key when you're not alone in survival, and Bob has a determined mind of his own. As much as he wants to do whatever he can to make things better for us both, without communication, we may start to frustrate each other.
I'm gonna head down to the shore over here. See a palm tree by the beach. I'd like to see if I can get some big, smooth-shelled drinking coconuts. Really thick in here.
It's the kind of stuff that worries me. Bob's been gone for at least an hour now. And what we didn't do was we didn't say how long he would be gone for. We didn't establish that. So as a team, we're pulling a fail on communication. Where's Bob? And when's he coming back?
As Bob Wilson and I live out shipwreck survival on what would appear to be a tropical paradise, he heads inland for a trip that I thought should have taken 20 minutes, yet a couple of hours have passed, and I instantly start thinking the worst-case scenario. What if he snapped an ankle or been bitten by a snake? So I've taken to eating coconuts to kill the time and get my mind on better things. But inside, I'm frustrated and I'm worried.
All right, I should be in now. This piece in the middle, some people call it the coconut apple. I call it the best part. It's gonna be great. And here comes Bob. Hey, Bob. Wow. Look at them all. Wow, okay. So if these are all edible, we're rocking. Well, we made one mistake, and that was we didn't establish any communication. I thought you were only gonna be gone 15 minutes. From now on, we split up. We should talk about how long we expect to be. And so each other knows. Bob and I are boosted up a bit from the energy of eating some of the coconuts. Shelter's kind of set up. A lot of fire material has been gathered. And we've got a boost of energy right now. We're going to make use of it by hiking in to the center of the island just to see what else we can find.
Proactive survival will always mean checking out the surrounding area for advantages.
A lot of times when you look at an island and you see all of the coconuts are missing off the trees, and it's not a place where there are a lot of humans, that's often the reason is coconut crabs going up, cutting down, eating them on the ground. So even that tree up there, I mean, there's not much on it, probably because coconut crabs. I mean, we've got so many great coconuts just on the ground that we can eat. All Bob and I are really looking for are the green coconuts, so we can get a nice full drink of water out of them, and that extends our own water supply. One of the key things to surviving a long time is making sure that what you have that works lasts a long time. So if you can, for example, keep drinking coconut water without getting serious diarrhea, make your own water supply last, you survive longer. And that's something we wouldn't mind doing, is getting ourselves some green coconuts. It's just they're up so high. It's not as easy as it looks. Well, look at this. Here's some. It shows you. You can come way out, and yet you still see human activity. Is that right there? That's for climbing that tree. One right there, too. So someone's cut out a foothold. They go up, gives them a grip. But there's not, well, I guess there's a few up there. Maybe we can find a shorter tree.
2 greens right there.
Yeah, it's a long way up, though, Bob. And we're just not that good at this. I don't know. Not a bad angle on the tree, though, eh?
No, it's doable.
You know where we are. This is an old plantation. There's trees, there's breadfruit trees, there's mango trees. That's why there's an old trail here. But, well, lots more fresh coconuts again. That's why there's all these little footholds cut into the coconut trees. This was a place people have hung out here. They've lived here. But, case in point, right? Mango trees here and nothing's ripe. You can find a farm. It doesn't mean you find food. Bob, what I'm going to do is as we walk through the forest, I've brought the flagging. So I'm going to flag the trail. If you're really stuck in a survival situation for a long period of time and you start setting off trails, I mean, it helps so that you don't get lost if you got to find your way back, but it also tells anybody who's looking for you that you come this way. Actually, it wouldn't be a bad idea to have a little black magic marker, and you could actually write a note on the flagging tape, maybe write the date down or something like that. Remember we were talking about the coconut crabs and baiting them? Well, there's 3 coconut trees with big mounds. It might be a good place to go bust open some of those coconuts and create some bait. You know what? I continually keep putting this machete down, and it's so brown, I keep almost losing it in the coconuts. Survival gear needs to be able to be found quickly. It can be ugly. It doesn't have to be pretty, but you don't ever want to lose it.
While Bob struggles to get through the coconuts with his machete, I'm conserving my energy and the sharpness of my blade, normally getting through with only 1 or 2 chops. It's not a machismo thing. It's just years of acquired skill at a seemingly easy job.
How does he do that anyway?
You need a lesson on how to open these things, don't you? Yeah. I heard you chopping away like a lumberjack back there.
I was getting a drink.
Oh, were you? If you were to just pick on this size coconut,
yeah,
right? Just get a small one. Save your machete, get a nice small one, line it up, get comfortable, and do the Bruce Lee thing.
Yeah.
See the machete go through to the other side. Put that out for Mr. Crab. Ooh, sponge. Hey, SpongeBob.
It's the simple, small things in survival that can make a huge difference. While I decided to tie ugly orange flagging tape around my machete, Bob didn't. And the result was the 2 of us losing almost 2 hours searching for his machete amongst the jungle floor debris. Time is not a luxury one has in a survival ordeal. Time is always running out. So you don't want the same to happen to your luck.
Wow, it just says coconut crab, doesn't it? So areas like this, coconut crabs will come out of. They like to hide in the rocks. Bob's got a good idea to bait right by the holes here. All right, if you're gonna go with a crumb trail up to the holes, at this spot, I'm gonna set up a trail cam. And unlike Bigfoot, I don't think coconut crabs recognize what these are.
We'll head back to camp. Bob's going to give fire starting his best shot using a flint striker from the survival kit. But his frustration is going to lead him right to the one precious store of limited matches.
I tried the magnesium, but the grass, even the grass itself, is still too damp. It's not even taken. So, matches.
No, that's a waste of the matches. I'll have to show you. So this is using just the spark, nothing else.
In the name of survival, I couldn't help myself. I had to jump in and stop him from using up the small supply of matches from the kit when I knew it was possible to get a fire going with just a spark.
There we go. Just with sparks only. See how I pressed down, I was digging? That's the difference.
Phenomenal. That's why he's surviving.
It wasn't about showing off. It's just that supplies like matches are everything in a survival situation.
That's a pretty simple problem to have. It was made sort of famous in the Castaway movie as trying to get into a coconut. So we're trying a couple of different methods, and I thought, why not? What about burning it off? Not only did it work, but I think it's given us a hot drink. Wow, that's hot. Wow.
Amazing.
Oh, we got to do this more often. That's a great way to get into a coconut. Heat up the water.
Just like my philosophy of saving matches when you have them, we can now save the edges of our machetes by burning open the coconuts instead of chopping them and risk dulling or even breaking our blades. I'm working to keep luck on our side.
So what we've done is we've put all these split coconuts, left them out here as bait, hoping we might find at least some hermit crabs.
Mirroring two men shipwrecked, Bob Wilson and I are seeking out all the survival advantages we can on a remote island off the country of Tonga. Working together, we've been able to split up our responsibilities. I'll keep the fire going tonight, while Bob checks the bait we left out to entice large coconut crabs. There can be massive coconut crabs on this island big enough to be a full meal in themselves.
That bait is bone dry. All gone.
It would seem that the crabs are not the only coconut eaters on this island. For now, the hermit crabs will have to be our main meal.
You got one. Let's see what you got.
One in the bag.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right, we'll add them to the bounty.
Nice.
Luck is keeping weather on our side. We've watched rain go by us a dozen times, but we've stayed dry and out of any of the storms that are blowing by, enabling us to take time to keep searching for food.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well,
Very good.
that's a great job.
Yeah,
Job well
really.
done.
Really good.
It was a long day, but a good day. Lots of coconut on this island, and getting those hermit crabs and for Bob and I to be able to chow down on them, unbelievable. I always like to eat right before bed in a survival situation because then all night long, our digestive systems will be digesting the hermit crab and the coconut that we ate, and hopefully that keeps us warm internally. The fire is radiating an incredible amount of heat into the shelter. It's fantastic, even though it's about 4 feet away. We can move it closer if we need to. The other thing we made sure tonight is we're actually sleeping on top of the life jackets. They were soaking wet. We couldn't use them last night. So tonight, we've had them dried out all day, and that should stop a lot of the cold from the ground coming up and just basically chilling our bodies down.
The three main zones of assessment in survival are your body, what is immediately around you, and then lastly, what is further afield. In this case, what's further afield is the ocean itself. We know there's bounty to be had, but how close is it? And how easy or difficult will it be to take advantage of it?
While Bob's out checking the bait early this morning to see if there's any more hermit crabs we can gather up and eat later, I'm thinking now that it's time we get out and check out our last zone of assessment, the ocean. You've got to be careful because one wrong move and you snap an ankle or gash yourself against the rocks, everything is over. We've got to get ourselves out of here. So the first safest is to go and just try fishing with a line. Second safest would be try fishing with a net. And lastly, the most dangerous would be spearfishing with snorkel and mask. Always go with your safest and easiest bet first in a survival situation. And in this case, we'll try some line fishing. Just gotta find myself a small plastic bottle, which sadly is not a difficult thing to do when you're on the edge of the ocean. There's our fishing reel.
While Bob fashions the line and lures from the mini survival kit together into a usable fishing reel, I'm working on making a spear.
Just figure we're not using a slingshot. Maybe I can use the rubber off of it and make a sling spear for spearfishing.
Once again, being two instead of one in a survival situation makes life, and therefore survival itself, easier. I've broken the small scissors off my multi-tool, which was no easy thing to do, and taken apart the slingshot to use as the rubber sling. Along the way, my casual approach leads to another accident.
Yeah, son of a gun.
At this rate, I'm gonna run out of fingers.
I just sliced my finger. This hand is slowly getting beaten up pretty badly.
So that's actually the scissors from my multi-tool. So come in here. Worth a try.
It's time to get out and try our luck at fishing, spearing, and netting. We can leave the net anchored with rocks on the tidal area over the coral. The beauty of the net is that it can work constantly when we don't have to. Next, we'll try our luck at fishing. I'll row and keep the raft steady while Bob sees what he can land.
It's like so many things in survival. Bob is really comfortable as a fisherman. He's been fishing all his life. But this is a lot different from fishing in Northern Ontario with a rod and reel, when all he has is a plastic bottle and a jig that he can throw out there.
After at least 2 hours of fishing with Bob in the raft, yet catching nothing, we've decided to split up. There are times to work together and times to work separately, and it's a judgment call which way will be successful. I'll try spearfishing while Bob walks the reef edge with the fishing kit. As I take several shots at fish, the makeshift spear is clumsy at best. With ink squirted out after my attempt to catch a squid, Bob finally has some luck and lands a small reef fish only a few yards away.
Well, I gave it my best shot there. I was in for a good hour, hour and a half trying to trying to see if I can spear a fish. I hit one fish in the side, and I hit him again in the side, and then he just disappeared on me. I couldn't find him again. At least it's not difficult swimming out there. There's no current pulling you away or undertow or anything like that, so it's possible to hover there and spear fish. But boy, they're fast, and it's a clumsy spear, so it's not the fastest. But anyway, Bob's going to give it a shot now. Theoretically, there's no reason why Bob and I couldn't just eat a lot of these sea cucumbers. This is one of the largest ones I've seen so far. A lot of them are small, but we're not going to touch them. We're going to leave them alone because in this area they've been devastated by overhunting. A lot of the Asian markets will come in and they'll just wipe out the sea cucumbers in one fell swoop all the way through a whole series of islands. And when you lose the sea cucumber, you lose the coral. These guys look after it. They keep it healthy. And so, as much as I see hundreds of them around here, they're all very small because they were originally wiped out a few years back. So, I'm gonna leave them be.
The net we left out is empty, so I've taken to walking the reef area looking for anything at all I can catch from up above. It's also time to show Bob just how quick and efficient a fire can be made with just a spark and a tiny bit of tinder from the survival kit.
Let's do a tally of what we've got. We've got the 2 coconut crabs.
Yeah.
Right. This little beauty. Nice going. It's great though. Still though, right? Taste of fish.
Fish is fish.
I mean, that's fantastic.
Grab these off the beach.
Yeah, we can cook them right in the coals. Those snails will pull right out of there. Seems to me like you did a lot better than me today.
Hard to do.
I only caught one thing.
Wow. No flipping way. Look at that.
Where did you get that? I wasn't even fishing. I was walking along the reef, but I had a poker in my hand.
Yeah.
Saw him slipping underneath the rock.
No
Or out of some coral, I guess.
Holy moly. That's great. That's amazing.
Now we're eating. Look at this. Look at the meal now. So your fish, hermit crabs, 3 snails, and octi.
Fabulous.
Oh my gosh. Tomorrow, Bob and I will head out of here knowing that if we were stuck here for an extended period of time, drinking would be the hard part. We'd be getting little sips of coconut water on a daily basis, and that's not enough. In the rainy season, it'd be easy. Right now, it's tough. No fresh water on this island, and no rain, and that would kill us from dehydration. And 5 to 8 days, we'd be done. This is what happens when you stay put. If you're stranded, you're stuck, and you've got to survive, you catch a rhythm. The rhythm of the lands, the rhythm of the critters that are all around, figuring out what to catch, when you can catch it. We can cycle our jobs. Whoever's in the mood to spearfishing, spearfishes. Whoever's in the mood to walk the reef, walks the reef. Who's ever in the mood to gather coconuts, gathers coconuts. And that way, as a team, we can work together and effect some pretty excellent survival. Wow, that's delicious.
So luck is with us. We have food, fire, and shelter. But we are out of water. And if I'm not careful, I'm going to run out of fingers to use.
Okay, let's do this. Oh God! I put too much pressure right into my finger with the burning end. Holy crap. Wow. So I went through with the heat, and I just a little too much pressure at the end, and I popped, and when I popped and went through, I touched underneath the fingernail into the skin, into the blood in the skin. Oh shit. I'll take that. Oh. Okay, well, I'm just gonna relieve the pressure. Get this blood out. Oh. Oh my gosh. Oh, can you see this happening?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, the idea here is to get the blood out and relieve the pressure. I wasn't supposed to push all the way through. I was just supposed to create the hole. Oh. Oh boy. Oh. Wow. Okay, I wasn't expecting that. You see all the blood gone now?
Oh yeah, the deed is
Right.
done.
Deed's done, so it's... Get all the juice and the blood out of there.
Completely changed color.
Yeah. Whew.
We've been lucky. Tragically, luck is not always with people who become shipwrecked, lost, or stranded. And even when luck is with you, how long can it last? Without water, we die. Without food, we die. Without shelter, we succumb to the elements, and we can die. We can have the will to carry on. We can have an experienced set of skills, physical strength, and even a good set of supplies. But sometimes, bad luck will override all of that, and we perish.